Now, I never thought I'd see the day where a sloth claws itself out of a gator's belly, but here we are. Welcome to Camp Crystal River. My name's Nick Tracanna, and today we're analyzing Slotherhouse in this episode of Don't Be Scared, the show where I break down the plots and filmmaking techniques to help you become just a little bit less scared of horror films. We open with two girls watching some NSFW-looking content before it's revealed that all three of these girls are in the same sorority. We got Emily, our shy girl seeking social media stardom, Maddie, who in her own words is a chill girl that's actually chill.
Maddie's a chill girl that's actually chill. I just want to save the world, and just a chill girl is, actually chill.
And Brianna, the mean girl sorority president with 32,000 followers on IG. Maddie heads out to buy more books, obviously because she's the smart one, and Emily snaps a quick selfie to commemorate their random trip to the mall. This is the first of many selfies in this movie, so we'll keep a count going as they come. As Maddie leaves, a loose dog and a couple of reckless driving children are barreling right towards each other. She dives on the dog to save it and triggers a random encounter with a wise mall goer. Oop! Selfie number 2, inbound.
What's up with this girl in selfies?
It turns out this mysterious stranger is O Exotic, who offers to sell Emily a sloth, an animal that Emily just now discovered.
What is that?
That's a sloth.
O Exotic tries to convince Emily that sloths make for great pets and owning one would easily boost her social media following. Ultimately, Emily declines the offer but takes his card as he slowly saunters into the distance.
Remember, sloths, they really move fast.
We then get our first look at Bree fully clothed, and she's a capital B. Now, we get a lot of side characters introduced here with this journey throughout the sorority house, but all of it basically boils down to a bunch of sorority babes kissing Brianna's ass, a UFC jiu-jitsu champion Zenny,
What the F, yo?
and the raging alcoholic house mom Miss Mayflower. To be honest, everyone else is kind of irrelevant. I'm such a mean girl. Now, as Emily finishes moving into the sorority house for her senior year, her boyfriend Tyler attempts to surprise her with flowers. But the unintentional jump scare leads to a punch in the belly, a kick in the nuts, and almost a katana to the throat.
Oh, yo, Tyler, my bad.
Zenny's really gotta learn how to control that training of hers. Later that night, Emily gets caught by the house mom looking at the wall of former presidents, and Miss Mayflower is beyond hammered.
A lot of good women wore crowns.
And amid this blacked out speech, she encourages Emily to run for president over Brianna, which she decides she's going to do but needs some more social media popularity to make it happen. The only logical next step here is to text O Exotic and lock in her sloth purchase. But this sloth has a dark side. He gives O Exotic some not so cozy back scratches
Watch your claws, buddy.
before wrestling him to the ground, presumably catching his first human kill off screen.
If there's ever a Slotherhouse 2, and somebody in the process of Slotherhouse is seeing this right now, I want to be in that, and I want to get killed by a sloth. Because that's got to be the most fun to ever do. I had fun doing that right now. And I didn't even have the little baby sloth on me.
The next day, Emily goes to O Exotic's house to pick up the sloth, but nobody's answering the door. And as you do in this situation, she breaks into the house and pretty much just steals the sloth. The next day starts with our third selfie of the movie as Emily returns home with her sloth. But Brianna wants to know
What's in the box?
and as it slams to the ground, out emerges our sweet baby sloth. And it looks like nobody knows what a sloth is around here.
For the bear thing?
And the scene ends with the sloth being named the house mascot, and Emily is officially running for sorority president. Maddie rushes up to Emily's room and expresses her disapproval with this whole situation, but the sloth says, "Shut your mouth." And the influx of memes and support for the sloth online quickly help Emily forget everything Maddie just said. Zenny then makes the revelation that
In the jungle, she's food. She's like a beta, yo. But out here, she's an alpha.
Alpha.
and thus our sloth has a name, Alpha. And now's as good a time as ever to show you who the real Alpha is.
My name is Rudy Rock, and I'm a voice artist from Helsinki, Finland. Creating a voice of a killer sloth is obviously a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
This brings us to the candidate mixer where Alpha is the star of the show. But Maddie just won't drop this whole unethical poaching thing and really kills the pre-game vibes. But as Emily heads down to the party, Alpha starts to surf the internet.
No shot the sloth is on the laptop. Sloth on the laptop. Can the sloth read? If the sloth types a message, I'm gonna my pants. Dude, the sloth is Genius.
And once she sees the selfie of Emily and O Exotic together, she gets ready to start her rampage. And in a way, the only thing that can help save the sorority house now is Brianna, who's signaling to Sarah to take care of Alpha. But she does a piss poor job of murdering the sloth, and he quickly returns inside to slip some pills in Sarah's drink. This triggers a nightmare sequence of Alpha slowly creeping up to give Sarah the 3 claws of death. The house's power then goes out, and you'd think there was a fire inside with how fast everyone is heading out. You guys do know you can stay inside a house without power, right? But this mysterious murder scene is cut short with a wildly abrupt transition into a sorority-wide dodgeball scene. This kickstarts a montage of Emily's rising popularity and Alpha's rising kill count. The scene finally ends with Brianna getting a face full of sloth and losing the dodgeball game. Emily's become quite the savage, but I respect that competitive spirit. We then cut to Zenny and Alpha getting a little tipsy poolside, and Maddie attempts to put an end to all this slothy nonsense.
Are you stealing my sloth?
The former besties argue about Alpha's future before Maddie gets hit by a car.
Oh my god. Whose car was that? Who was driving that? Where did this come from?
Emily then has an identity crisis over Maddie's bruised up body and agrees to take Alpha to a shelter tomorrow morning.
You literally just had your friend get smashed 105 miles an hour in what I didn't even know was a road. They're just having a conversation and she gets destroyed. So who gives a what we're talking about here? Let's talk about who was driving that car. It's like, was that another sloth? Is there a team of sloths coming to just everyone up in this movie? And they can drive? We need explanations. We need answers.
But before then, it's election night, baby. And this sorority's electoral process is extra culty. Just how we like it. They all wear red robes in a red room with red candles and place a flower into the bowl that corresponds with their selected candidate right as the clock strikes midnight. Now, is this an election for sorority president or the Wicked Witch of the West? Either way, Emily wins in a landslide and Alpha steals her keys and maps her route to the nearest hospital. And it's looking like they should have named Alpha Vin Diesel because this sloth is moving.
This sloth can drive. What the?
She then pulls the plug on Maddie and takes the 4th selfie of the film before suffocating her in her own hospital bed. Hashtag killer sloth. And finally, after a week-long killing spree with no questions asked, Brianna finds the first body. Alpha quickly tries to dispose of the witness, but Emily saves the day. As chaos ensues upstairs, the sisters are in the shower playing some weird BDSM shower trust game. Let's not get into it. Emily and Brianna are totally staying calm.
Oh my god, we're gonna die! Please all together!
When Emily asks,
Is there a gun in the house?
A
I don't think
gun?
so.
That there's a sloth on the loose. A little baby sloth on the loose. And your first resort is to get a gun? I don't even need to know what's gonna happen. That's gonna backfire. You can't have a sorority house with guns. It doesn't end well.
this begins their escape plan to reach the gun, but Alpha's been expecting this all along. She jumps at Emily but gets sent flying into the upper decks. Forget the sorority, Em, you should be on the softball team. But as soon as she goes to admire her home run, Alpha pulls a Michael Myers and is nowhere to be found. Emily finally finds the gun amid some loose bras and panties, and it's showtime. Alpha uses the opportunity to crank up the heat in the showers downstairs, trapping and burning the remaining sisters playing borderline sex games. Meanwhile, a hungover Miss Mayflower sees the blood on Alpha's claws and gets ready to take a swing. But her softball skills definitely aren't up to par with Emily's, and she decides to poke at the sloth.
Oh my god, she's poking.
Alpha's killed gators, grown men, and roughly 6 college sweethearts, and you're gonna take her out with a few wooden paddle pokes? Miss May, I think you need another drink. She goes upstairs to find Emily after getting slashed up by Alpha and takes her dying moments to give some motherly advice to Emily, later revealing that she always hoped the girls would elect her to be president.
I thought one year you kids might choose me.
And she chose to be the drunken house mom instead of using her law degree.
Maybe I should have just used my degree. Yeah, you should have. I have a law degree. You should definitely have used that.
Miss May, you should probably go ahead and die because you're talking yourself into a bit of a hole right now. We cut to boyfriend Tyler sexting Emily.
What's up, Bratty, dude? We should later.
And scrolling IG when he starts to put the pieces together that @Killer Sloth, who's been posting selfies with dead bodies and the hashtag Killer Sloth, might actually be Alpha the real hashtag killer sloth. Now this guy's using that college education, but as soon as he arrives at the scene, Emily almost cracks his head open. How on God's green earth could you mistake Tyler, a grown man, for the ankle-height killer sloth? Luckily, she pulls her swing back in time and we get the arrival of Zenny, uniting our dream team of sloth killers. As they creep through the house, Alpha sneak attacks the group and dominates the fight, only being bested by our beloved UFC fighter Zenny, leading us to the most climactic katana fight of all time, resulting in both Alpha and Zenny being stabbed. The old 2-for-1 special at the stabbing store. But Alpha's injuries don't derail her at all as she raises the katana ready to make some heads roll. But before she's able to do any real damage, she gets shot in the chest by none other than Maddie, back from the dead. She didn't even bother to take out the IV for this showdown. This girl's tough as nails. Emily goes over to finish the job, but Alpha makes a quick escape. Just as the group reaches the exit, Emily's pride gets the best of her and she says,
I'm going back.
What? Why?
But it's a Slotherhouse.
So now we start our final battle. Emily armed with a katana and a handgun versus Alpha, the sloth. Before long, out walks Alpha holding Brianna hostage, and her only request is for Emily to drop her weapons so they can fight bare-knuckled, or bare-clawed, if you get what I'm trying to say. But just as it looks like Alpha got the best of Emily, she uses her own TR to stab through Alpha's skull. And with the pool of blood pooling around Alpha not being enough evidence that she's actually dead, Emily crawls over to the gun just in case. And it's a good thing she did, because Alpha's coming in from the top rope to pounce, but Em's aim is just too damn sharp. And just as she gets ready to put the final bullet into Alpha's head, because I guess stabbings and multiple gunshot wounds just aren't enough for her, she sees a random image of Panama and thinks, what would PETA do?
You're really gonna send this guy back to Panama? How are you gonna get him there? How are you gonna explain that to the sloth family, the sloth brother and sister, with bullet holes in them? This guy has a tiara stabbed in his head and bullet holes, and you're worried about getting him back to Panama?
We fast forward to the following year and all of our survivors are now poaching activists, and in a way profiting off the Slotherhouse murders with new recruits. It's not that bad if you just don't think about it. Either way, we get yet another selfie to end the film and everybody lives happily ever after. Except, you know, the dead girls. But don't get up just yet. We have a post-credits scene of a group taking a tour in Panama where the tour guide warns of dangerous creatures in the wild, totally unaware that the fabled 3-toed sloth is the most dangerous of all. And what better way to end the movie than with yet another selfie? So there you have it. Despite being a bit over the top and goofy, Slotherhouse was actually a pretty fun time. If you want to watch my full reaction to Slotherhouse, click the links on screen and subscribe to Camp Crystal River for more content like this. Until next time, I'm Nick Tracanna and this is Don't Be Scared.